Good evening, everybody. It is Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim, and I am Sean,
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Jim.
and we're here to do something we haven't done yet before, and that is we're going to do a movie review on two movies. Of course, for people who like to pronounce things correctly, we had to kick it off in style with two Asian movies with a bunch of names we're probably going to mangle. So we've got a spoiler warning on the bottom and a pronunciation warning at the bottom. So if we mispronounce something, please let us know in the chat and we will try and fix it. But I think Jim and probably Kenny is going to leave all the mispronouncing to me since I have the names in front of me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably will be. But yeah, we watched Godzilla Minus One, which Sean, me, I always have to type.
You are Sean.
I am Sean, me.
Speaking
I always
about
have to
himself
type
in the third person already.
No, yeah, that peyote's kicking in. I always have to type in like the third person when I'm doing the Talking Movies Instagram posts because it's from all of us.
Yeah.
So I get in the habit of referring to myself as Sean. Anyway, I've seen it. Kenny's seen it. Jim has not seen Godzilla. Well, has now, but hadn't seen Godzilla Minus One. And none of us had seen Peninsula. So we're all three going into this first reaction on that one. So,
but we had all seen Train to Busan and loved it.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Thanks to you, both of you guys, for recommending that to me.
And that was the reason why I thought about it, because I know how much we all enjoyed the original.
Exactly. So that was a great pick. And we've got Mr. Dan already in the chat.
Hey,
We've got
Mr.
Hey, Dan.
Victor in the chat. Hey,
Victor, how's it going, buddy?
Victor says, Minus One is my choice for the best film of this decade. So I'm very excited about this. That's great. Let's hope we live up to that expectation. And Dan said that he just watched Peninsula today. So hopefully he's fresh.
It's fresh for you, Dan.
Yeah, we got it. We got fresh opinions for you. So we decided we were going to take care of Peninsula first, since that's the one that we both watched for the first time. And like Jim said, that was the one that was the sequel to Train to Busan, which I also watched over the weekend, just to get a refresher course on what I really loved about that movie, because I hadn't seen it in damn near 6 years.
Yeah,
because I forgot how long ago it came out.
2016, I believe.
Was it 16 or 18?
I believe. I could be wrong. It might be 2018, but
yeah, it was a long time ago.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. And all of us loved that movie. So when Jim suggested Peninsula, I'm like, oh, that's fantastic, because I've been putting off watching Peninsula because I've heard rather negative things about it. So I just really I wasn't super excited to watch it. So it turned up on Netflix on, what was it, Friday? It finally came out. So I had it on Blu-ray, so I ended up watching it that way. So guess we'll kick it off. Who wants to go with their first mention of what they thought of Peninsula?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Or do we want to do a recap of what it's about?
Yeah,
or...
I'll read you my synopsis that I did on the letterbox. A zombie virus has, in the last 4 years, spread all over South Korea. 4 Koreans in Hong Kong sailed through the blockade of Incheon with $20 million on a truck. Let me tell you, I was bawling, crying the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of this movie. And it's just that this movie, I didn't think it was as good as Train to Busan, but it was damn close to it. I just thought it was a really, really beautiful movie. There was no needless violence in it. Everything just seemed to work out perfectly. I like how the Asian people do their movies, because there's like no wasted spaces in their movies. And I don't know if it's just how like they've been prone to direct that way. Because even when I watch like the martial arts movies, there's no wasted camera movements or nothing, because there's something always happening in the background. And the same with this, like even when with the truck and stuff, you could always see there was like zombies coming from either way, or there was just like when they were in the town when they were getting away with the two little girls.
Mm-hmm.
There was always something in the background. I just thought it was a really brilliant movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 Whoppers on my letterbox, but I really, really enjoyed it. And the lead actress was really good in this. Now it's time for Sean to tell us who the lead actress was in her movie.
What was her name in the movie? Because I can't even remember.
Junie.
Junie?
Lee Ree.
Lee
is
Ree.
her name. Yeah.
Hey, I can handle that one. Lee Ree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lee Ree.
Lee Ree.
All right. Lee Ree.
I thought that was one of the daughters, but I could be totally wrong.
I thought that was the mom.
I don't know. like we said, like I said,
Yeah.
We could very easily be
No
saying,
offense, but we're going to kill these pronunciations of
these
names.
pronunciations are going to be terrible. So yeah, I thought
Three old white guys going, they all sound and look alike to me.
I'm in awe of Dan when I'm watching Mr. Dan's channel. He just like rattles off these names
Yeah, I
like,
know.
like Jones or Smith.
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Makes
we
me
are
sick.
not Mr. Dan. So Mr. Dan, we
So
bow
it's like,
in
God
honor
bless you,
to-
Mr. Dan, for
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Jim, you thought we weren't going to disagree too much, but
Oh, we're going to.
we're going to.
Yeah, I think me and you might agree more than okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with this. I tried to watch both of these. I tried to go into both of these movies with no expectations, okay? Because, like Sean said, Peninsula, basically what I had read about it was that it wasn't as good as Train to Busan, and everybody and their brother loved Minus One. So I didn't want to go in there thinking, okay, I don't want to be overhyped or underhyped. I just want to try to go in as clean as possible. Bearing that in mind, Peninsula is not a bad movie. Okay, it's a well-made movie. It's a well-executed movie. It's bigger in budget. It's bigger in scope.
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger in just about every way, structurally, than Train to Busan. The one thing that it is not bigger in or better in any way, shape, or form is the emotional connection that you obviously had that I did not. Because Train to Busan broke me the first time I saw that movie. That's why it's so near and dear to my heart. I wasn't expecting that sort of reaction. The opening 10 minutes of Peninsula is fantastic. It really is. And especially when they're doing like the newscast thing where the guy's being interviewed and they're superimposing other footage. They're on the highway and out of nowhere a fucking airplane comes and takes. I mean, I literally was like, holy shit. I mean, that was so well done. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the movie until the kid and the mom got, on the boat. They get infected and then they get stuck in Hong Kong. Next thing, 4 years later. Okay. From that point on, quite honestly, I didn't give a rat's ass about the story, about any of the characters. I mean, any of them. And as far as it being a bigger budget movie, I think the effects were worse. I think the CGI was worse. Some of the CGI in that movie was laughably bad, in my opinion. And at points, it felt like a video game more than a movie. Whereas Train to Busan, you could say kind of the same thing. Okay, it's fast-moving zombies, blah, 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 not a lot of story. It's just kinetic, get from point A to point B. But that tension level never lets up in Train to Busan, okay? Unless you're crying at the end, all right? This movie, there's moments of it, okay? There's some moments in this movie that I think are absolutely brilliant, okay? When the guys are first landing and they're walking around in the dark and it's all quiet and they got the infrared on and stuff, and he's like, by that time he looks around and you just see that sea of zombies behind the glass, okay? Yeah, that was great. You know, I was just like, holy shit. And I love the way that they paid that off at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With the big car chase. The main problem I had with Peninsula, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Okay. What I am saying is that it's derivative for one thing. Okay. That movie to me, did you ever see Doomsday, Kenny or
Yeah.
Sean? Have you ever seen Doomsday? Mm-hmm. Doomsday came out about 10 years ago, and it's more or less as an Escape from New York ripoff. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like Neil Marshall, who did The Descent and Dog Soldiers.
Oh, I've seen both of those.
Okay. And Doomsday is a lot of fun, but it's like 5 movies plots crammed into a blender. Okay. So it starts off and it's like this, and then it starts out, and then it goes to this, and then it goes that. But beat for beat, you can tell what it is going after. That's the way I felt watching this movie. It was like, okay, this is the gladiator scene, you know, where they're chasing around. I've seen that in 5 different movies: Escape from New York, Escape from L.A., Land of the Dead, George Romero's Land of the Dead. I mean, a lot of them. Okay, the chase at the end, you could say that was a Mad Max with zombies chase scene. Okay, and the way that kid was drifting around and taking people out, fucking Vin Diesel can't drive that good. Okay, and it was like, it just got to be to where it was like a video game more than a movie to me. Again, if I never saw Train to Busan, I probably would have enjoyed this movie much more. Or if it didn't have Train to Busan in the title, okay, saying presents, and it was just Peninsula, I probably would have enjoyed this more. But as the movie was going, I couldn't help myself. I started comparing it to Train to Busan, and it was just, in every way, it's I just can't understand how a movie with 5 times the budget looks 5 times as cheap. At least it did to me, you know. But again, I'm not disparaging you for liking it, Kenny, at all. Okay, I'm actually envious, because I wish I would have had the same reaction that you had with it. I didn't. It's not a bad movie, but in my eyes, it's certainly not a great one, and I can't see myself buying it on Blu-ray. I'm kind of glad I hadn't, you know, because
that was like a one-time watch for me. I
don't think I'll watch it again. Let's put it that way.
Like, I didn't care for the I thought the Running Man kind of thing, where they, you know, sprayed 61 on them.
Yeah.
And they put them in that Running Man thing with the zombies and stuff coming out and stuff. I didn't know if that was, you know, I didn't think that was like needed in the movie.
And again, I've seen that trope in 6 movies at least. I mean, you know, Escape from New York, he's in there with the bald guy with the baseball bat, you know, in the ring. Escape from LA, he's on a fucking basketball court. It's the same thing. And the Land of the Dead, it's literally that scene from this movie. They put people in a fenced around arena with zombies and make them fight the zombies, and the last one to get bit lives. I mean, seriously, that movie came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with literally everything you said, Jim. Almost word for word. The CGI I thought was really like weightless. Like when at first I thought, okay, when they're doing the chase scenes, that's when the film lost me, is when you see the driver of the car as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. That's when it lost me. It was just like, all right, well, maybe they're going for a different angle. Maybe they're trying to make it like more of a fun type movie. Maybe it's going to be a little lighter. Okay. And then it didn't, because the stuff with inside the camp, that Unit 631 and that Sergeant Huang or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And that guy, he was like super hardcore badass, but still kind of a goof. And it was really uneven in terms of where it was kind of trying to go in terms of tone, because the kids were light. The brothers, or not the brothers, I guess brother-in-laws or whatever they were going in for the money. They split apart at the beginning. The one didn't know the other one was alive, and then he found out he was alive, and he was trying to go back and save him. And then, so there was that struggle. And then there was the whole thing about the girl who had the woman who had the 2 daughters, being the same girl that they ignored at the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie, which meant nothing. It didn't add
Wasn't that
anything to the
convenient,
story.
you know?
Yeah, it was like, oh, I've seen you before. I remember you. I left you. Oh yeah, so did 31 other people. Okay, so that made her bitter. Big deal. I mean, that's the only, unless I missed something, that served no purpose other than to make her hate people and turn bitter and turn into a badass who suddenly went from, wimpy housewife with a daughter to super soldier. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, that didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I thought of several things that you did. I thought of Mad Max. I thought of Escape from New York. I thought of, what was I thinking? Everything looked like it was done in a studio.
Yeah.
Like those night scenes, it looked like you could see the painted backgrounds.
That's the thing I forgot to mention. The thing that was really driving me crazy throughout the whole movie, they shot it day for night.
Yeah.
Where they put the artificial filter to make it look like it's nighttime, but yet you could still see the shadows where they're walking around and it's supposed to be pitch black. And it's like, it's got that quality to it, that day for night quality that drives me insane.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Yep.
Yeah. And Mr. Dan just said the ship scene in the beginning was really good. It was. The opening scene was great.
Yeah. The first 10 minutes is fantastic.
And I thought, okay, this is starting off really well. Okay, we're going to set it up and we're going to go to another colony or so. Because I literally ignored anything that had to do with the plot. I had no idea where this film was going to go because I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to have no idea what it was about. Wanted to go in totally
That's
blind.
how I went in. I didn't read anything about it. I just put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just knew that it was the sequel.
Yeah.
And one of my subscribers, when I was talking about Train to Busan on one of my videos, mentioned, hey, have you seen Peninsula? It's not as good, but it has a lot more action, is the way he described it. And I would say that's accurate. That's an accurate description. It is. There's definitely more action in it than Train to Busan, but a hell of a lot less tension in my mind. I mean, a hell of a lot less.
And the lack of character development really hurt it. Like when there was lines of dialogue, and I hate to compare the two side by side because they are two totally different types of movies. And they're from the same writer, they're from the same director. It's the same guy whose name I won't mangle. But the fact that it came from the same guy and it's from the same mind kind of forces you to compare them because it's the same universe, it's the same guy. Somehow I was thinking, okay, it's the same director, but it had to have been written by somebody else because it can't be from the same mind because it shows so little of the same tendencies as the first one with the characters. But it is from the same person. And it's like he forgot how to do any kind of character development or forgot what made the first one so good. Yeah. It's like he checked that all out the window and said, okay, I'm going to make a derivative action movie and throw the zombies from the first one in it. Like that's what was good about the first one, when everybody thought the good thing about the first one was the character development and the emotional attachment you got. And I think Victor said in the chat, I think it was Victor. He said right here, if you don't feel anything when the girl starts singing at the end of Train to Busan, something is definitely wrong.
Yeah,
absolutely. And for me, it was even before that.
Yeah.
When her father is on the back and he just has, like, instead of his life flashing before his eyes, her life is flashing before her eyes. And it's like, that killed me the first time I saw it, There's nothing in this movie that made me feel even close to that. I mean, there's a couple of moments, like I said, there was a couple of moments in this movie that I thought were absolutely brilliant. Okay. That I was just like, whoa, that is so cool, and shit. Mm-hmm. There just wasn't enough of that.
Right.
In my opinion. And again, like you said, everybody talks about the characters, in the first one, the emotions you get from every character in Train to Busan, whether you like them or not. You could relate to every single one of them, you have feelings towards every single one of them. That guy's a fucking asshole. Oh, aren't those two cute together? Oh, that little girl's so adorable. Wow, her dad's kind of a prick. Wow, I love this guy. He's a fucking superhero. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
In this movie, none of it.
No.
Not one. I mean, not one, and that's what got me. I thought if nothing else, I would get at least attached to either the lead or, like you said, the mom and the two girls. Okay.
Yeah.
The older girl I thought was a boy.
So did I.
I mean,
Yeah, I did too.
I constantly kept thinking it was a little boy. Okay.
She kept saying she had two girls, and I was like, "Where's the other girl?"
Yeah,
oh,
I thought
that's
it was
a
a little
girl.
boy and a little
okay.
girl, you know, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, even with the old man character, okay, hey, let's make Grandpa look like he's got Alzheimer's or something to tug in the old strings or whatever. And yeah, I'm not, you know, the guy did his job. All the acting in it is fine, you know, and this and that and the other, but it was like it didn't land with me. And when they had that little twist at the end where the UN helicopter shows up, that seemed very convenient, okay?
Right.
But then the woman's got the fucking name of the thing that the old man
Jane.
says that he's been talking
Major
to.
Jane.
Yeah, Jane or whatever. Okay. And it was like, okay, if what that was happening was true, why didn't they go out there earlier and meet this helicopter? Why are they waiting until now to do this shit?
Right.
I mean, are you kidding? I mean, again, it didn't click with me. Whereas in Train to Busan, every decision made by every character made sense to me, with the exception of the old lady who decided to open the doors and let them all in when her sister got, you know, taken out.
Yeah.
I think that was a sacrifice, though.
Yeah. That even
that
made
was
sense.
the only thing that I was like, that's kind of fucked up. Okay, but everything else in that movie I could see, you know.
Right.
In this movie, like I said, it was like a cross between a video game and a rehash of about 10 other movies, in my opinion. You know, well made.
I
well
did
executed.
like how they interlocked the scenes from bookends with the car, with the little girl with the car.
Yeah.
Remember in the beginning, she was like, I got to take my car. I got to take my car. You know.
Yeah.
And then at the end, that was the one that, you know.
Yeah, like I said, there's moments where, I mean, again, that window shot where all the zombies were behind it, you know, the first time you see it at the beginning. And then when that asshole Sergeant Wang or whatever the fuck his name was or whatever, the guy's shooting the glasses, they're going by, and then they all
tumble out.
Back the fuck up, back the fuck up. I mean, I gotta admit, that was really cool. That was cool. It was a good payoff, you know. I mean, it really was, you know, but I just wish that there was more moments like that. I just, you know, most sequels suffer from they're not as good as the original because, you know, it's not an original idea. I do like the idea that they took what happened in the first one and they expanded it. Unfortunately, like I said, it was just, to me, it felt like, hey, director, here's 5 times the budget of that first movie. Here's carte blanche, do what you want. And he just got that budget and went, wow, I can do anything I want instead of being focused on what worked. Yeah. You know, and I could be totally wrong. You know, I could be totally off on that. But that's what it felt like to me.
Do you think he was trying to, because I've never seen this show, but like I hear everybody say, do you think he was trying to make a Walking Dead universe?
I don't know about that. Because again,
like I said, I haven't seen Walking Dead.
Because again, Walking Dead, you could say ripped off Romero's zombie flicks from back in the day. I mean, for a while there, anything with a fast zombie, they were saying was ripping off 28 Days Later. Even though I still insist that 28 Days Later, they're not zombies, they're sick people. And in a way, you could say the same thing about these movies. I don't know if these people are zombies or not, because zombies technically are dead people that eat live people.
Right.
I don't think these things were eating anybody. They just bite them and attack them and turn them into what they are.
They are.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, you could definitely get into the nitty gritty of what's a zombie and what isn't, and are these zombies, because we find out what the origin of these things are in the first film. Yeah. It's our project. It was created by us in the lab. You don't find out exactly what it is, but you know it's biological in origin, and it's not necessarily limited to humans, because there's that one deer has it. Yeah. So
which that was the other thing. Okay, if it was part of that same universe, where's all the critters in this city? Yeah. Because there's still rats and other shit. You know, when there be zombie rats or whatever.
Yeah, that's one thing that I never really thought of till just now. Like, that deer had to eat something or bite something or get infected or something. How did it get infected to begin with?
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, I don't want to focus too much on that, but
who knows? Even that might have just been a callback to like Resident Evil with the zombie dogs.
Right. Yeah.
You know, who knows?
Yeah.
What, I mean.
Right. Or it could have just been, hey, this makes a cool scene. We'll just do that. All right, throw away.
Well, hey, the first time I saw that fucking deer, I was like, what the fuck? So, it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a cool thing. I don't know. I went into Peninsula, like I said, and like you guys said, we went in blind, and I really had high hopes up until they cut to the 4 years later part, and I didn't initially realize it was the same two guys at first.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize the guy sleeping in that one back room was originally the captain from the first part of the film. It took me a couple minutes to figure out, these are the two brother-in-law or whatever. And at that point I was like, okay, all right, that's the thin connection we're going to make with these two people. And then we're going to make them go on a heist, like recovery mission. And okay, all right. Okay. I'll follow. But then it was like, I don't have any emotional investment in them that's strong to begin with. And now we're going in with these partners that they had, who was that lady who was driving.
Yeah, the taxi cab lady.
Yeah, the taxi cab lady.
And the guy. And there was I thought that was the guy from Squid Game at first. And it was like, no, it's not. But he was, the guy that was like hooking up the car battery and this and that. But again, disposable character number one and disposable character number two.
Right. And like you said, with Train to Busan, immediately you had a feeling or got an idea of what you felt about the characters as soon as you met them. And these two, I was like, who are they supposed to be? Who are they? They didn't even have names. They weren't introduced properly. They were just, okay. Like you said, disposable character number one and disposable character number two. Instantly, they're killed off. Okay, so I guess I'm supposed to care about these two brothers, and then they're split.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, am I supposed to care about the one who's put into the gladiator thing, or am I supposed to care about the guy who's taken by the two kids and taken to the old man and the girl? And I'm like, okay, who am I rooting for here? Who is the person I'm supposed to sympathize with or care about? There wasn't any at all. There was nobody to focus on. And I didn't like the kids either, because they were both little spoiled assholes.
No, the little girl was cute, but again, it was like, the older one I thought was a boy. I kept thinking it was a boy.
And I didn't like I didn't like their mother. I thought the grandpa was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But that's it. I obviously didn't like anybody who was in that Unit 631 because they were all jerks. So it was a bunch of unlikable people. And what are you supposed to do with that?
The other movie that I forgot that this totally reminded me of, and I don't even know if you guys have seen it because it's a Netflix movie, but Zack Snyder, that Army of the Dead movie. It's a zombie movie where they break into Vegas to steal money from a vault.
Was that any good?
No, it's a piece of shit.
I've heard it's terrible.
It's like the same plot as this, so I don't know who ripped off who, but when I was watching Peninsula, I was like, holy shit, this reminds me of something. And I tried to put that fucking Army of the Dead movie out of my mind because it's a piece of shit. But you gave it 4 out of 5. And again, I'm not disparaging you for having that opinion. Again, I wish I would have had that opinion. If I had to rank this on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd probably give it a 2.5. It's mid. It's not horrible, but it's not something that I would go back and watch again. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
How about you, Sean?
I was bordering on giving it a 2 or a 1.5. Sorry, Kenny.
No, I'm just like, maybe I watched the wrong fucking movie. Then.
I just really, I expected it to be so much better than it was because of who was involved in it. When I kept hearing people tearing it down, I didn't think it could possibly be that bad. Just because Train to Busan was so great. But when I was watching like the opening sequence as they came on shore in Incheon, I was just looking at the backgrounds and I'm like, okay, they're obviously in a studio. That's painted background. I'm like, wow, that looks really, really cheap. And then when the car chases started, I'm like, okay, they just sped up the film a little bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, that looks really weird. And then later on, when they were doing like the hardcore, like Fast and Furious bullshit, I'm like, these cars don't have any weight to them. It's totally weightless. They're like floating. He's spinning and he's doing the, like when the one kid, the girl was driving and she's flipping around and she's turning the lights on to activate the zombies in the corner or whatever, just at the right time. And I'm like,
speed racer action there, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's a movie about zombies. It's like, and you know, it's like with Godzilla too. How can you have, oh, that's not realistic in a Godzilla movie. That's not realistic in a zombie movie. But you got to have some barrier somewhere. There's got to be some believable stuff in it to make it identifiable or relatable, but that's what Train to Busan was. Everything in that was completely relatable.
Yes.
And that's what made it great. And that's what I think when I was watching this one, I was like, there is nothing relatable in this movie.
No.
Character wise, situation wise. I've never, gotten up and tried to break into a quarantine country for $20 million.
It was closer. It was closer to World War Z than the Train to Busan.
Yes. Yes.
And that's another movie that people love, and I just don't, because again, it's just, there's moments in World War Z I really like, but that movie has nothing to it that makes me emotionally attached to it. It's like watching a video game.
Yeah.
And that's the way I felt watching this. Didn't love the CGI.
Yeah. I didn't love all the CGR car stunts in Fury Road, but the mixed in real stunts, and it felt grittier.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was all that much CGI in Fury Road, to be honest.
Yeah, there's some enhancement to it. But I'd say about 90% of that shit is real. Is practical, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's what
this one, I would say maybe 10% is practical. Like they're sitting in a car.
If Texas said Kenny was watching The Simpsons that night, I don't know.
Poor
Kenny, I am not ragging on you for liking it.
Not at all.
Not at all. We were talking before the show, and he put his review on Letterboxd. And I cheated and I went and I looked to see if he put it on there because I was just curious to see if he'd put it up there. And I saw that he gave it 4 out of 5. And I was like, wow, okay. I really want to know what he has to think about this because it's like we watched 2 different movies.
Yeah.
But
I'm envious. I'm envious, to be honest. I wish I had that reaction.
Kenny, I don't take this the wrong way. You tend to be more of a softie than I am.
Yeah.
About a lot of stuff, and I was just looking for shit to complain about as soon as I saw the studio shit and the painted walls in the background and stuff. I was just like, oh, this is already irking me. But you have a tendency to overlook the technical shit that I see, and you can look past that stuff and you look at the characters. So that, like Jim said, I'm envious of that because I just look at that shit and it immediately takes me out of the movie. But so you were taken by, I'm going to interview you for a second because I really want to know.
Let's crack open the nut that is Kenny.
I really want to know. So it's easier for the first scene because that was an emotional scene and it worked. But at the end of the movie, what got you?
What got me is when Jane was holding the kid. When Jane was holding the kids, and the mom was just like fucking Sarah Connor, and just beating everybody. And it was like she had that resilience where she was going to do everything that she could to get out of that situation to be with her girls again. And it was just like I don't know. I am a softie when it comes to that stuff, and it's just like, and especially when the guy just went and then just started like mowing people down to help her escape and stuff. And when she's hobbling to the front and stuff like that, and they come close and basically he sacrifices himself, in order for the mother to survive with the girls.
But he doesn't
to get on the thing.
But he doesn't sacrifice himself because they all get away, don't they?
Yeah.
He doesn't get killed.
No, but I'm just saying he just kind of disappears. That could be a third. That could be a third. A sequel to this. For all we know, with his character. But I'm just saying that just kind of. I don't know. It's just like you do anything. Like I don't have any kids or anything, but it's like you have that emotional bond with your kids, and it's like you're going to do everything that you can to get them out of that situation or to be with them again. And it's just like I don't know. That's how I felt. And it was just like that just like tore me up.
I get you.
Kenny's heart is big enough for the three of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because me and you have known.
No, I could definitely see that. And again, me thinking technically about the movie, I think in all honesty, I thought that scene dragged way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been more emotionally impactful if it wasn't so long, because it was so melodramatic and over
formulaic or
yes
whatever.
I mean, she went from,
you knew it was going to come, like you knew she was going to come out of that smoke that they had, but there was not even any like emotional like music to that, like like anything from that when she came out, and it was just like thanks, Victor.
Kenny's heart is bigger than the Grinch's, and that's after it grew 3 sizes.
That's right.
No, that is not a fault at all, Kenny. And
no,
I
not at all.
Oh no, I'm not taking it bad. I'm just like, but that's why I find it interesting to listen to other reviews and everything to see what people got out of it, because that's what I got. I mean, I am more of a sappy person than than I think you guys are. So it's like I kind of like look for that emotional connection. Like there was one movie that Dan had recommended, The Mind of a Killer or something, where he was a hitman and his backstory was he had lost his wife and daughter, and this little girl, he was, I think that's the one that I seen, and he was basically, he kept on like shying her away and stuff, and her mom was a prostitute, like a high-end prostitute. So basically he took care of the girl while the mother was away, doing her things. And then she got convorted with the drug smugglers and stuff like that. So, and he had to go save her. But it was like, I felt like that not that emotional connection like that, but it was just like, I don't know. I was raised on rom-coms, so I guess this is like a new genre for me, throwing zombies in it.
No, dude, I am a complete sap. I came out of Field of Dreams bawling my eyes out.
Oh yeah, so did I.
And there are many, many movies that have made me cry like a baby, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, but I think it takes some skill from a filmmaker to get me to get like that. And I know Jim feels the same way. If you feel like you're being manipulated, that'll throw you right out of the film. And that's what I felt this movie was trying to do. It was trying to get you to feel like that.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Whereas the first one, it seemed to do that organically.
Yeah, and the first one, it was very heartfelt and very genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like I don't remember any of the characters' names in the first one. But the big guy, the guy that sacrificed himself, that got bit,
the superhero.
The
Everybody
superhero.
loves that fucking guy. The guy from the
He kept calling. Yeah. He kept calling the girl's dad a douche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that cracked me up. That was funny. It was unexpected. That was genuinely hilarious. But there were no moments like that in this movie for me where there was any like camaraderie or lack thereof between the characters where something like unexpected like that could happen. It was all very formulaic and very just rigidly, okay, this is your bad guy. This is your somewhat morally reprehensible captain who may or may not have something bad happen to him, maybe whatever. Just there was I don't know, it was all very rigid and very predictable. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And Dan, don't think I missed this comment. Even that wouldn't have saved this movie.
Yeah, you want to make me cry, make it animated.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, fucking Wall-E, I cry like a little bitch. I couldn't get through 10 minutes of Up, so
Right.
It's like, you want to make me cry, make it animated.
Well, Victor said he cried over a CGI character. So
I did too.
Yeah, actually,
I told
got
you
a
about
big time
that.
tear in my eye at the end of
Yeah,
of
me
that.
too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I told you I cried at Guardians 3.
That's what I was gonna say. I got teared up during Guardians 3, and I'm like,
Okay, don't spoil
not
that.
only-
I haven't seen it yet.
no,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
like you're crying over a CGI.
raccoon.
Yeah.
Not even the raccoon is his little friends. A fucking.
Oh yeah.
I don't
God,
even know how to
it was-
describe them, but they're like, it's obviously something fake, and yet it's making me want to cry. I
Right.
mean, that's when it's well done. That's
Right.
when it's well deserved.
Right.
It's like I said, I don't know. I didn't hate this movie.
No.
I really didn't, but I didn't really care for it either. It's just like, that's why I said 2.5. It's just meh to me.
Yeah. And I said 1.5 or 2 stars. 2 stars would be if I gave it a pass because it was a relatively low budget. Because it was $16 million to make this movie.
I didn't know that, but wow.
I'm about to do a segue.
Okay, sorry, I fucked you up.
No. $16 million to do this movie, and I think they stretched that $16 million really thin. But they made a movie from beginning to end that tells a story, does have characters, it does have a flow, it tells a story, it doesn't fall apart, it gets from A to Z fine. It's just kind of rocky from as it goes. So should I hate it? No. So I would probably lean towards the 2 stars rather than the 1.5. But for $15 million, we have Godzilla Minus One.
Before we start that, please read Texas's comment.
Okay. My mom and I went to see The Notebook, and I just
That literally made me chuckle when I read that.
Oh.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my God.
Look at you, Texas, you warm-hearted bastard.
That's parenting done right there. Oh, that's funny, Texas. Okay, that totally threw me off track.
There he is.
All right. So have we said enough about Peninsula?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my segue was wasted. But $15 million. We have Godzilla Minus One. It was made for $1 million less than Peninsula. Won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah.
Should have been for Best Picture.
Well.
Spoiler.
Well, there's no spoiler in that because we've made it well known on this show that I, at least, am very much a fan of that movie, and Kenny is very much a fan of that movie. But Jim had never seen it up until this weekend.
Oh, I want to hear Jim.
I watched it Friday night.
All right, I'm sitting back and listening to this.
So we're gonna sit back in our recliners and listen to what Jim had to say about Godzilla Minus One.
Fucking sucked. No.
Mr. Dan, are you available to right now?
Welcome to next week's show of Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Dan.
No, let's preface this by saying I, like Sean, and probably like Kenny as well, grew up watching Godzilla movies on TV, on the creature features. Loved them all. All the black and white ones. Saw quite a few of those theatrically. I saw Mechagodzilla theatrically back in the day. Saw all the reboots, including the horrible Matthew Broderick Giant Iguana movie, which is not a Godzilla movie. I'm sorry.
Gino.
Including all the new ones with the Godzilla versus Kongs and the Godzillas versus this and that and the other. This is, without a doubt, the best Godzilla movie I have ever watched. Period. This movie is damn near a masterpiece, in my opinion. And I think if I watch it again in black and white, it will be.
Yes.
Because the only thing I told these guys, I put a little blurb in the Sean the other night, was that I had watched the first 5 minutes of it, and the thing that struck me was how pissed off Godzilla looked. Mm-hmm. And he does look pissed off. He's lean, he's mean, he's a badass. And the thing that blew me away more than anything was, unlike Peninsula, I cared about every fucking character in this movie. None of the MonsterVerse movies have any character in it. In any of those movies that I cared about as much as like the 5th or 6th build in this one.
Mm-hmm.
The main guy who's going through PTSD for the whole damn movie.
Yep.
And survivor's guilt because he was a kamikaze who shit the bed and didn't want to go through with it. The woman who shows up at his doorstep with a kid. Noriko. See, I remember her name. Okay.
Yep.
And the main reason why I remember her name is halfway through the movie when Godzilla attacks, it looks at least like she just gets taken out, and it gets taken out in a way that I did not see coming and was like, holy shit, you know? Didn't really care for her popping up at the end. I mean, I didn't buy that, but whatever. That's all good.
Yeah.
The little girl is sweet. You know, his 3 co-workers are guys that you like. The woman who takes care of the little girl, you like her. When the first time you meet her, you're like, oh my God, I don't like this harpy bitch. 10 minutes later, she's one of the best characters in the movie. I mean, every character in that movie was great. And the effects, you said that movie was made for $15 million?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably less than the catering budget for half of these MonsterVerse and Marvel movies.
Yep.
Okay. My God, that movie was fucking phenomenal. I never would have guessed that was a $15 million movie. If that was made in America, it wouldn't have been.
No.
Okay. I don't know if that was a guy in a suit or CG or a combination of the two. It doesn't matter. Godzilla looked better in that movie than he does in anything that I've seen in the last 30 years, at least.
Yep.
Cannot say enough about that one. Unlike Peninsula, I will be buying Minus One.
Yep.
That movie was great. It really was.
I'm gonna, before I say anything, Kenny, do you want to say anything? Because I'm gonna throw it to the comments in this.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I'll just when I first seen it, I think I seen Dan's out of the theater review he did on his channel, and I was like really excited to watch it, and I said to Sean after I got done watching it, you could do 5 or 6 different movies on all the different people. I mean, when Jim was talking about the kamikaze pilot that had the PSD, when he comes back, he asks for his parents, and the woman just starts slapping him. He doesn't move. He's just getting beaten, and she's like, everybody's dead, even your parents. And it's just like, oh man, and it's just like, and it wasn't his fault, you know. he just like froze because even if he's in the beginning of the movie, it's like he just barely escaped to get, and if that plane went up in the air, Godzilla would have just swatted it down, because he crushed it. It was, oh yeah, I loved it. I watched it twice that night. I got Netflix just to watch that movie, and I bought the big ass box set when Sean told us that it was available on Godzilla.com. I love it. It's the best movie I've seen in the last 20 years. No shit. It's just like it's a perfect movie.
That's high praise, man. I won't go that far, that's high praise.
I can't tell you any movie like that. What the hell, Anora?
Oh, Anora.
What a piece of shit that was, and that one best picture. And it's just like, and if you're like comparing it, and I mean, this movie didn't even get nominated for an Academy. It won for special effects, but it didn't even win for get nominated for best picture. It's like, what are these people looking at in Hollywood? I mean, I still can't get over that. The fashion model movie got nominated, where like they own a boat. The parents own a boat or something. And it's
Triangle or some.
How the hell did that get nominated?
Yeah, Triangle.
How the hell did that get nominated for an Academy Award?
Never saw that one either.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I heard it's awful, but
sorry to be sucking on these damn lemon drops. In case anybody in the audience is wondering, I quit smoking last week, so I'm doing the best I can here.
Major praise, Jim.
Day number 8.
I see. Victor agrees with me about Anora too. Basically, Victor, that Anora was basically Skinamax movie that you'd watch on Friday and Saturday nights. Like Lady Chatterley's Lover or something like that. It's like I had no connection. She was just And don't get me started with that girl, because I can't believe she won an Academy Award for that over Demi Moore's character. And yeah. I am not a big horror guy, as you guys know.
No, I know.
But
I'm laughing because I liked her performance in Anora. But
did you really?
Story. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh.
Like I said, I know her from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Because she gets torched by the flamethrower.
Yeah.
She's one of the Manson girls.
Yeah.
Lady Chatterley's Rubber.
All right, I want to throw it to the comments.
Okay, yeah, please comments. What do you guys think?
So Mr. Dad said, I'm still astonished what they did budget-wise with Godzilla Minus One, which that seems to be the major reaction when people hear what it was made for. Victor says, this movie is just unbelievable in how much it made me feel every possible emotion in 2 hours. Takashi Yamazaki and the team at Toho made Warner and Legendary's U.S. movies look like a joke. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I like those movies, and I totally agree with what Victor just said.
Yeah.
Because I do. I like the MonsterVerse movies.
Yeah.
They are a joke compared to
They are a joke, and they're supposed to be, but it's more than apparent now. He also said it obviously made Emmerich look like shit too, but we already knew that. He did that himself. Yeah, and Mr. Dan says the minus color version is really gorgeous. They did a ton of work on that. Yeah, they didn't just take the color out. They color balanced everything, and they retooled everything to make it look better in black and white. So it is an experience. I saw it in the theater minus color, or 3/4 of it before some asshole kids made me leave, but that's another story. Shikishima and Noriko's character arcs are some of the best character work in any movie recently. Yep, I agree with that. And you had asked if there was any suitmation in this. No, it was CGI. It was all CGI.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have known that. I thought it was a combination of two. But that's some of the best CG I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Especially for that price. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's ridiculously good. Mr. Dan says Sumiko was a great character. All the shipmates were too. Yeah. Noda, the Navy technician, the guy that came up with the plan at the end, for trying to kill. He's one of my favorite characters. I loved him. He's like the one who was it the kid, the guy they called the kid. He's like, did you know he was such a bigwig, or whatever he says at the end. This movie is amazing, and it definitely deserves some Oscars. When it won, I literally throw up my hands and scream.
I did too. I think I texted you that night that they won.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This movie is literally about fighting the future, even more than the first X-Files movie that had the tagline.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yes. And then the rest is ripping on Honora. But yeah, as far as my thoughts on the film, like you said, we all grew up in that era where Godzilla was on all the time. You know, we were talking earlier about crying at movies. The first time I cried at a movie, and I am not ashamed to say this, is when Godzilla died at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, when they used the oxygen destroyer on him. I cried, and I kept saying over and over again, they killed Godzilla. They killed Godzilla, because I never saw a version of the movie where they killed Godzilla. I had seen other ones, but that was the first time I saw him die, and I couldn't believe it, that he actually died in a movie, and I cried, and I was 6 years old. And ever since then, I have been a huge Godzilla fan. I watch anything with Godzilla. I used to go outside and play in the snow and pretend I was Godzilla. Godzilla has been my favorite since I was little. So,
Yep.
you know, Mr. Dan and everybody can make fun of me for liking my big zombie ape movies and all that shit. But Godzilla has always been like my thing. You know, kaiju movies are known for being crappy and shitty, but they carry some real emotional weight to them. If you go back and look at the 1954 shot, the Japanese version of Godzilla, Gojira, the one that doesn't have Raymond Burr in it, the original, that, even though the special effects are pretty hokey, that is a very emotionally solid film.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, yes, it has hokey special effects in it, but it is about a film, about a country, you know, dealing with the after effects of being the only country that's been attacked by another country with nuclear weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that scar runs pretty deep. And Godzilla is the personification or manifestation of that, I guess, not personification, but, you know, they recreated that as best they could with the technology they had. Now, with the technology being what it is, they've recreated it the best way they could, and now they can do it justice. And now this is my favorite Godzilla movie of all time. This, I think, bests the original. Not too far past it, because it's not the original. You know, the concept is not original, but the telling of it, the human side of it is just as strong as the original. And that's been the weak point of all Godzilla films since the first one and until this one. The human stories have always been disposable. Who cares? I don't care. Get to the monster action, whatever.
Yep.
You know. And in this one, when the humans are on screen, you are still invested in what's happening. You care about them. You want to know what's going on. Just everything about it is interesting. And I don't know. I couldn't take my eyes off it. I saw it 3 times in the theater. I've seen it 4 times at home so far. And for me to rewatch a movie, especially nowadays, that many times is just insane. Because I saw Star Wars so many times because there was no such thing as a VCR when that came out in the theater,
Right.
You know? So I would go see it any chance I got. I saw Godzilla Minus One 3 times in the course of 4 weeks.
Wow.
At the theater. So that's got to say something. I mean, just crazy. Victor said, I also believe that Minus One is the one contemporary film that we need right now in terms of message. It's about fighting for a better, more hopeful future, which is so relevant in today's climate.
Amen.
That's true. That is true.
Amen.
And there's a lot of commentary in it too. And it's funny. One of the things that when it came out, I thought would go over a lot of people's heads, and I'm glad it didn't, is the Japanese culture aspect of it. I mean, there's the PTSD side of Shikishima's character, but just the way that it's manifested in him and the way he handles it emotionally, plus the guilt about how Japan treated its war veterans, how it let them down with the supply line issues and bad armored tanks and that kind of stuff, which comes out in the meeting at the end where they're trying to discuss the plot to kill Godzilla. Like, they all put their lives on the line because they know they're working towards something, not because they have to, because they're being told by their government to put their lives on the line because it's their duty. It's because they feel they have to. And I think that resonates really well. And it didn't go over people's heads, which I'm very glad that it didn't. Okay, I'm done.
Couldn't have said it any better. Really.
Yeah, my rating would definitely be, I won't give it a 10 out of 10 because to me a 10 out of 10 is a masterpiece. But I will give it a solid 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great movie. It really is.
Yeah.
It's something that I will definitely add to the collection, eventually once I start working again. But it met and exceeded all of my expectations. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Like Victor says in the comments here, it should have won Best Picture, and I loved Oppenheimer.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, I watched Oppenheimer once, and I liked it. I don't think I would watch it again. And I've already seen this Godzilla 5 times. And
I totally agree with you.
Again.
I would watch Oppenheimer again. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I would watch it again maybe sometime in the future, but it's not a movie that I'm going to sit down and watch on repeat like Godzilla. And I can't say that I enjoyed Oppenheimer as much as I enjoyed Godzilla. Now they're two different types of films.
I was going to say, that's apples and oranges.
Yeah, I mean, it's one's a biopic and one's a kind of.
Okay, well, this is probably the biggest contention of like the Oscars ever. 90. Okay? But Dancing with Wolves or Goodfellas. Okay? Both great pictures. But what is more watchable in your opinion?
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Yeah. Dancing with the Wolves is a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous movie. But it's not where it's like, hey, Helen, come on in. We're going to watch Dancing with the Wolves for 3 fucking hours. Where and it's like, at least with Goodfellas, I'm going to be entertained for 2.5 hours,
Right.
Yeah, so that's like when Victor brought that up, that's the kind of comparison I didn't see. Although, Minus One wasn't nominated for an Oscar, but it's like, I will put my time into watching Minus One again. Because I feel it was a better movie. I mean, Oppenheimer I felt was more character driven, with Robert Downey and
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian. Yeah. Thank you, Cillian Murphy. Yeah, the guy that only won the Oscar for it. I forgot his name.
Just Oppenheimer.
And like Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh. I thought it was a good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not damning on it, but I felt like I would watch Godzilla another time more than sitting through that again.
Well, yeah. I'd rather watch Sisu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was thanks guys. That was a very good recommendation, and they're coming out with a sequel for that.
Yeah, and I'm not mad about it.
No,
I'm not mad about it at all.
No,
because it's apparently the same writer and director, so I'm down.
Yep. What did Victor say here? He said, this is also a movie that did something rare. It made my mom cry once it was revealed Noriko was alive. I told her to watch it one day, told her to forget about the subtitles, and it made her cry. Yeah.
That's another thing with the even with the subtitles. You're so involved with the story, you just kind of like lose yourself in the subtitles. That's how I watch French movies because I like Julia Binoche. And it's like I kind of lose that thing with watching the subtitles because I'm so into watching her on the screen. and I was so involved with the characters on screen that I literally totally lost, some of, reading.
I refuse to watch Godzilla Minus One with an English dub. I just
Yeah.
absolutely refuse. I know there are people that subtitles bother the shit out of them. I don't want to read my movie, but I want to see the dialogue as it was intended and hear it delivered as it was intended instead of being thrown off by some Bronx accent guy delivering,
Yeah, if Mr. Dan's here, he'll tell you, like, when you watch like the martial arts movies,
Mhm.
they're saying one thing. They're like, "Can I have a turkey sandwich?" But like on the dialogue, it'll say, "Can I have a tuna and cheese sandwich?"
Right.
It'll be like totally different dialogues. So like some of them you might miss what they're
Mhm.
saying, on that.
I know with the Godzilla films, there are different dubs that are available for some of the older films. Like there's the Toho ones, there's the American International ones. I don't know the differences between them, but I try to avoid all that and just watch the original Japanese versions. That's why I like owning the original, like the Criterion Collection versions of the original Showa version or Showa Godzilla's. Yeah, Victor says dubs are okay for anime, but not for live action films. I mean, even the martial arts films have their place with kind of dopey martial arts dopiness in certain circumstances, I'm going to try and get my daughters to watch this. I think they'll really like it if they can get it past being one of Dad's movies. I think one of the fun things of watching martial arts movies on like Saturday afternoons was the bad dumbing. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people think that way about Godzilla movies too. And I don't want to take that fun away from them, but I don't like watching them that way. That's just me because I take them maybe too seriously in certain aspects.
Yeah,
but I just like watching them the way they originally were meant to be heard. Victor says, although the new line dub for Rumble in the Bronx was fun because it was intentionally bad in a way. If you've ever seen Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan, that movie is fun. But yeah, the dub is pretty bad on that.
The Mad Max dub for cable was without a doubt the worst dub I have ever heard in my life. Mel Gibson, they dubbed Mel Gibson's voice with some. Yes. I don't know what the hell that guy's voice was, but it wasn't Mel Gibson, man. It is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Dan says, I watched a bunch of Showa Godzilla films on Tubi a while ago with subtitles. It's a different experience. So it makes a difference, but it's apples and oranges if you're one of those people like it's a guy in a rubber suit smashing model buildings. Who cares? You can't take it seriously no matter what they're saying.
Wah.
Yeah. I get that too. But there, like we were talking about earlier, there's the MonsterVerse Godzilla now, who is the jokey Godzilla, who started out originally when they did the first ads for Godzilla. They did the I Am Become Death ads, and they made it sound like it was going to be a super serious film with Bryan Cranston, and then it was sort of a serious-ish film that Bryan
movie
Cranston
was a snooze fest the first time I saw it theatrically.
Yeah, it wasn't what it was promoted to be. And then they did the King Kong, which was good. And then they did the next Godzilla, and then they've gradually built them up. And now it's just like the Showa era Godzilla films of the past.
Yeah. They're just silly now.
It's just silly, and it's fine. It's great. I don't care. I'll go see them, but it's not the Godzilla that I like. I like the serious Godzilla of Godzilla Minus One. And that's another thing.
Shin Godzilla was good too.
Yes. Have you seen that, Jim?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's a totally different experience than this one.
That's
Oh
not.
yeah, absolutely, totally.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to recommend because it's a lot of talking and a lot of Japanese politics
Mhm.
and a lot of political commentary, and it's a lot of subtitle reading because it's a lot of just jibber jabber. But the Godzilla in it is completely
off.
different. And what's that?
Pissed off.
Yes, he's very pissed off, and very much a reaction to humanity, I guess. He's got different forms, and he I don't want to take too much away from it, but he's very adaptable to what the humans throw at him. Yeah, Shin Godzilla, the board meeting.
Nice.
And before Godzilla Minus One, Shin Godzilla was my favorite recent Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
And I love Shin Godzilla. I admit it, it is not a super fun experience to sit through if you can't sit through all that boring stuff, because it's a hard movie to explain.
I think you got to watch it twice in order to enjoy it, because, like you said, there's so much fucking reading with the subtitles in the first, and it's like you're just trying to catch up, and everything happens,
Yeah, there's a lot going on, talking wise, and not so much action wise. But the Godzilla scenes and the way Godzilla is, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
If you're into a more serious Godzilla, a more threatening Godzilla, a more destructive Godzilla, he's very cool. But that's the Godzilla I like, the dark, pissed off Godzilla who just is like an unstoppable force of nature, like he was in the first one, the very first one. That's my favorite Godzilla. I love that Godzilla all day long. The Godzilla.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the Godzilla that, is doing jumping jacks or whatever on, while he's fighting Monster Zero on, or, tag teaming with Jet Jaguar while fighting Megalon. I enjoy those movies, but they're just goofy stuff that I would watch in a double feature with Ape. It's junk, but it's fun junk, but it's not something that I would ever admit to or say that it's a great movie. Godzilla Minus One is a legitimately great movie.
Yeah. You think there'll be a sequel? Because the way this one ended, it definitely left it open for one.
Well, there is going to be a sequel.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They've already greenlit it. Same director, same writer, same guy.
Okay. Cool.
They just announced it. What was it, 2 weeks ago, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably why I wasn't aware of it then.
Yeah.
Cool.
They officially announced it. They had planned it based on the success of this one, but they just officially gave it the go-ahead. And Victor said Yamazaki, thanks to this movie, has an American movie in the works at Sony. So he might be our next big crowd-pleasing auteur filmmaker if this next one is any good.
Good.
So yeah, he's definitely. If this wasn't a fluke, like Train to Busan, he could be the next big thing. I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away, but the love and care he shows for the Godzilla character is evident in this movie. And I think that he won't do anything to hurt the character. Let's hope. Yeah, and Victor says here, I think the way to go about it is the sequel has the answer to the question of whatever the hell is on Noriko's neck at the end. Yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to talk about is what is that? What do you guys think that is?
I just think she's got some sort of radiation poisoning,
Okay.
Because
that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a radiation scar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was moving.
Oh.
I didn't notice it moving, to be honest.
Yeah, if you watch it, it creeps up her neck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
She going to turn into Godzilla?
I don't know.
Gua gua.
The Bride of Godzilla.
Yes. Noriko, Bride of Godzilla. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be. Godzilla Minus 2 ER edition with Dr. Green and the gang. That would be fun. No, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I know, oh wait, Mr. Dan has something. I have high hopes for a sequel. If she mutates into something, we'll all be heartbroken. Maybe she mutates into the thing that Godzilla fights. Who knows? Maybe Godzilla fights something.
She turns into Mothra, and the little girl turns into like the twins from Mothra.
Masura. The one thing I did want to comment, and you had mentioned, Jim, that you started watching the movie on your phone, I think.
Yeah.
And then you moved to a bigger screen, or you wanted to. Did you ended up watching it on a bigger screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched it on the TV in my bedroom, which is like a 40-inch. So I didn't watch it on the huge screen, but definitely was better than the phone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's another thing I would say is this movie demands to be watched on the biggest screen you can possibly watch it on, especially for the scene where Norco gets vaporized or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that blew my mind the first time I saw it. I mean, well, the only time I saw it, but it was like, holy shit! You know? Yeah, because I just didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I didn't either.
I was a little upset when they brought her back. You know, at the end. It just, to me, it felt like a cheat. You know, because when she got taken out, that was earned. You know, that was like it was an earned moment. So, but I don't hold it against the movie.
I think if the movie has one fault, it's probably that. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it takes that a little too far. Like the end was good enough, and then they pop that telegram at the end, and then you're like, nah. But yeah, I don't fault it either. I mean, if you're gonna give it something, if you're gonna give the character redemption, pile it on because he deserved it.
Right.
You know. One thing that I think is cool about the movie too is that the Shinden plane that he flies in that movie is a real plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they mention it in there that I dabbled in World War II aviation fandom when I was a little kid, and that was an experimental plane that they did build a few of, and it was a rear engine fighter. The translation, at least on the version in the theater, kept mentioning jet fighters. I don't know if the translation on Netflix mentioned jet fighter.
I didn't notice, to be honest.
But it's not a jet fighter. It was never had a jet. But the Japanese did have a jet fighter in production, or not in production, in development. That was sort of I think it was based on the Messerschmitt 262 from the Germans. It was very, very similar, if not the same exact design they were going to try and build. But they had a bunch of weird designs that they had, but the Shinden was one of the ones that actually they made, built, and flew. I think 6 of them they built. So that was a plane. They didn't build a real one for the movie. Obviously, it was all CGI. They built the prop, but it was a real plane. So I thought that was really cool that they put that in the movie, because that was something that was kind of an unexpected, not Easter egg, but little tidbit for aviation fans. I thought that was really cool. But there's also the scene where he comes out and takes out Noriko on the train. Mm-hmm. When the Godzilla thing kicks in.
That was like, you know, out of all the places that he could have grabbed,
it's
her train, her car.
Yeah.
You know, it seemed kind of convenient.
Yeah.
But still, it was cool.
When he comes around the building, though, and that theme kicks in, that's one of those scenes that I will replay over and over and over again, because it's so fucking badass. That whole scene.
Yeah. Just the first time that you see him, that was what got me. You know, where he's on that island and all once the air raids start going off and get a light over there. There he is, just standing there. Like, I was like, holy shit. You know, I mean, that was, and when he's, when they're doing the mines
Yeah.
and you just see his head, like Jaws.
Yeah.
Just follow, I mean, that whole sequence was just fantastic. I loved it.
That was cool.
Like you said, Jim, I like how they introduced them because you hear the air raid scenes and you just see trees rattling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The trees rattling, and then you see the face, and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and it's just there. I mean, it was like no lead up, just bam.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know.
Shit,
Something big.
That was well done.
And again, every time they showed his face, he just had this pissed off look in his eye that none of the MonsterVerse movies have. None of them. And I don't know if it's because Godzilla is a protector in those movies as opposed to being aggressive, a monster. But like I said, man, he just looks so badass in this movie.
Yeah, the scene where you see the nuclear explosion that makes him stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You see that cut to his face, and you just see the scarring that's taking place, and his eye peels back, and you just feel like he hated being the way he is enough already.
Mm-hmm.
And then to feel that pain, that's what kicked in. And that's what I think you kind of feel at least I did for the rest of the movie, is that he's just, I don't want to be here. And now you've made me into this, and I'm going to get back at you.
Right.
And I'm going to deliver as much pain back as possible. So every time he comes into contact with humans, he just wants to deliver as more pain back to him.
Right. Yeah, this guy ain't taking naps in the Coliseum.
No.
You know what I mean? And I like that scene in the new Godzilla one. I thought it was kind of cool,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
No, he ain't doing that shit.
No, that's hilarious.
You also felt for Godzilla when they had him like in the water, and like they were throwing like stuff on top of him to contain him in the water and stuff, and it's just like you felt like a lot of compassion for the character,
Yeah,
you're talking about when you talking about when they were doing the Freon stuff, the bubbles?
The Freon,
yeah. I just he was a victim, but he didn't deserve any of what he got, because he didn't deserve it, because he didn't create himself. He was created by us, and then we turned him into a monster, and then we blamed him for the destruction he was creating, but we created him.
Sounds like you're talking about Trump.
I thought I kind of compared them to the Frankenstein monster a little bit,
Yeah.
In
a way, yeah. Victor said that Shikishima's scream after he thinks Noriko bit the dust is one of the most heartbreaking and terrifying screams in any movie I've seen recently.
Mm.
That scene is heartbreaking too, because then that black rain starts falling.
Yeah.
Just that whole nuclear fallout type thing, because it looks like Godzilla launched an atomic attack on the city, like with his breath. There's that sort of nuclear cloud in the background, and then that shit rains down. Yeah, that scene's fantastic.
Yeah, that was the reason why I had a problem with them bringing her back. Because it was just so brutal, and so well done.
Yeah.
That, like I said, that ending just cheapens it a little bit, in my opinion. But it's that's really the only complaint I've got about the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a little one. I can live with it.
Yeah. I love the way they handled with the theme is fantastic. And then they do with the extended version of it at the end, where they just let it play out. Mr. Dan says, what did you guys think of the big plan to defeat Godzilla? I thought it was clever. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
The one thing, though, that I thought was weird is that the plan was to sink him super fast and then bring him up super fast. And then when he stalls halfway through bringing him up, then they start trying to bring him up with the tugboats.
Yeah.
And it's like he gets a chance to sort of relax for a little bit. So it kind of defeats the purpose of.
Yeah, I was
bringing him
always
up
under
back.
the impression, why bring him back up at all? Just sink his ass and leave him there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But whatever. It was
Yeah.
still cool though.
It was very cool. Oh, brother. They better not turn Godzilla face in this movie, the sequel. He's better in this timeline as a heel. Absolutely. The sequel should confront the fact that the humans created him too and taking responsibility for what they did. Yeah, I agree for that. But unfortunately with that, that might turn him into a face, because then we become the bad guys. So it's a fine line. You know, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was essentially Adult Home Alone.
I've never heard that before.
That's
Adult
good.
Home Alone will always be the last Rambo movie.
Yes, I love that movie too.
Did you guys have any other first time watches this week that you're not putting on as a recommendation?
I forgot what I watched this week. Let me check.
Because I told you guys on Instagram, between these two, I also watched Remembering Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah, you did want to talk about that.
And
I've seen that.
That's fantastic if you haven't seen that yet. It's really good. It's more or less in his voice.
Mhm.
I think it's from his novel or his book or whatever, and then they just, but it more or less covers everything, from his theatrical career and stuff, and just a great movie. Just a really good movie. Makes a good companion with the Christopher Reeve one.
Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. I only had one problem with it, is the fact that they left out his first two wives.
Yeah.
That was the only problem I had with it.
Yeah, they mentioned Gilda Radner and who we ended up with. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that was the only problem I really had with it. I watched it last summer. I actually have it on Blu-ray, and but for what it is, it's really good, and I really like the whole how they dig into the camaraderie between him and Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
and the different scenes that they worked on. Like I just reread my review of it. I don't remember this part from watching the movie, but I remember from reading my review. There was one scene where they were talking about the putting on the Ritz.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't remember what happened.
Mel Brooks did not want that scene in the movie. He said it was ridiculous, stupid. And Gene Wilder, who was a very reserved man, got so angry and started screaming and said, "No, you have to have it. This is the backbone of the movie. And if it's not there, fuck it, I don't want to do it." And then Mel said, "You know what? You're right. We'll do it, just because I wanted to see that you had passion and wanted to fight for it." And then filmed it and said, "It's the greatest thing I've ever filmed." I mean, because it is. Yeah. That's the scene that everybody talks about.
Yep.
But he wanted to see Gene Wilder fight for something. And it's like, that's great.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about that. As far as the actual movie that goes, I learned a lot about him, and I thought it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of that talking head stuff.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really need to be more than that, just like you said, because it is narrated by Wilder himself from his autobiography. So yeah, it's really, really good. I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's about what I'd give it.
Yeah. I watched, it's not my recommended view or recommended movie this week, but I watched 8th Grade by Bo Burnham. I think it's an A24 movie. I've had it on Blu-ray for a while. I just got around to watching it. Came out in 2018. It's about a girl in 8th grade. She's really shy, and she's like a YouTuber, and she tries to do these like confidence building videos, but yet she has no confidence whatsoever. Mm-hmm. You know how everybody's dorky in 8th grade. And it's just sort of how she tries to get through the transition from getting out of 8th grade to go to high school. And it's hilarious. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it's hilarious. It's really good.
All right. I will write that one down.
I watched the new series on the Netflix, the 4 seasons.
Oh
With,
yeah, you told me about that.
yeah, um, it's 8 episodes, only 26 minutes long each episode. It's got a cool cameo in the second episode with Alan Alda.
Oh yeah,
He plays one of the parents,
He
but
was in the movie.
yeah, with Carol Burnett. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
remember the movie.
basically. I wish they would have done a movie instead of a series, because I feel the movie would have been better than the series. I mean, for the talent, if people don't know, it's Steve Carell's in it. Um,
oh
Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. Will Forte plays Tina Fey's wife, and then there's a gay couple in there. That personally, if they do a second season, I would be okay with watching the gay couple, because I thought they were the most entertaining pieces of the movie. I love Tina Fey, so I'll watch anything she's in. But I just felt Will Forte was okay, Steve Carell was okay, but the gay guy and his partner, his partner's Italian, and he speaks Italian, and his partner's a tall black guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Idris Elba a little bit. But they are the best part of the movie, and it's basically Steve Carell's the one that has the he plays the Roberts, Tony Roberts.
Yeah, he's
Tony
the one with
Rhodes.
the young girlfriend. or
Yeah,
whatever.
with the young girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with that. The wife showed up every episode into where they were going, that she was still a part of the couple's retreat. And I just felt like, honey, he's with this new girl. Do something else.
He's Belichicking. Leave him alone.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
it's a verb now.
But
I just made it one.
trademark that bitch. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was like I expected more. And Tina Fey wrote all the episodes. Her and a couple other people.
Oh, that sounds cool.
But yeah, I mean, give it a watch. It's worth a watch. I mean, because like his Steve Carell and his wife, I didn't know the one that played Annie in it, the blonde that he leaves for another blonde, and there was one funny part where his Steve Carell's daughter is in Brown University, and with Tina Fey's daughter, and they go and they're there to see a play that the girl's putting on. I'll just leave it at that. The play is like, that was like probably the funniest thing that you'll ever watch in the show, because I was like dying laughing when you get, and I think that's episode 6, unfortunately. But yeah, I really like that one. The other stuff that I've watched were just basically Day at the Races was on again. I watched a show, This Is For You, Texas, After the Porn Ends, on Tubi. And it was basically like porn stars that like from the 70s and 80s, that basically after their career ends, what happens to them. And there was like, I think I knew 3 people. Do you know? Well, John Leslie was one of them.
Yep.
Seika.
Yep.
Seika was in, the other one, and another guy.
Harry Reams.
There was a
Harry
Harry
Reams.
Reams.
No, it wasn't Harry Reams.
John Holmes.
Let me find the guy's name, because and then they tell you like after all the
Eric Edwards.
Eric Edwards. Yeah.
Yep. He was a straight actor too.
Yep.
I'm trying to find his name, but
back then they actually knew guy performers. They were stars. Nowadays, it's
just a brief aside. My buddy used to rent every Peter North movie.
Peter North.
Peter North.
Peter North, because he had the best
Choose your words
Money shot?
carefully.
Yeah, I'll just ever in movies basically because it was just
I think the term you're looking for is money shot.
yeah. And Texas, it's on Tubi. It's called After the Porn Ends. The other girl I knew was Raylene.
Now that one I don't recognize.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, she's got like tattoos like on here, and she basically Asia Carrera too.
I know her.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because Asia.
Me and Sean are like, yeah.
Well, it's funny because it's like I told you when I used to cook, there was this guy that used to his name was Chip. I still remember this, and my buddy James and me opened up on Fridays because we made cheesecakes for the whole restaurant, So Chip used to get there with produce while we were prepping for the rest of the day and stuff like that. He used to come with the produce order for basically the weekend. Well, he had the big box VHS pornos, okay, for $10 a piece. So James, who was built like Chef from South Park, he used to go and he goes, "Oh, Kenny, I'm going to go get me some of that Vanessa Del Rio shit this week." So he used to pop in on the truck. So after Chippy delivered it, everybody basically, all the prep cooks, the cooks, would be there and they would be going, and I'd see James with like a big ass bag full. He goes, "Oh, baby, Vanessa, Mrs. Brown's going to get some tonight," like that.
I don't want to think about the chefs watching the Best of Peter North and making cheesecake.
No, there was none of that. There was none of that. It was just that, but it was funny. Like every Friday, you would see, I'm telling you, even like the owners of the restaurant, they would go back to this, produce truck and just be in there because he had the whole back. I went in one day, he had the whole back just filled with them. Samantha Strong. Remember Samantha Strong?
Yep.
Blonde-headed girl.
Yep.
My favorite was
I
Tracy
remember her.
Adams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tracy Adams.
I remember Tracy Adams.
My favorite was Tracy Lords before it turned out that I shouldn't be watching Tracy Lords.
Yeah, Tracy Lords would get you in trouble.
Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, there's a guy on the X that puts up pictures of her every day, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, why?
What a disaster there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Better be
Ginger Lynn, Amber Lynn, Nina Hartley,
Yep.
Michelle.
Nina Hartley is still doing that.
Yeah, I know.
She's still working?
Marilyn Chambers.
Yeah.
Oh, man. How old is she?
She's got to be in her 60s.
She's got to be, I was going to say 70.
66.
No, I'd say,
66.
66.
God love her.
Yep. I only have her right here because I looked up the cast of After Porn Ends on IMDb. Richard
Christy
Pacheco
Canyon.
is the guy you're thinking of. Remember him, Jim?
Yeah. I worked in a
Randy
video
West.
store. We had quite the large porn collection, selection. So yeah. I'm not afraid to admit that I was a horn dog back in the day.
Nope. I had a C-band satellite dish. We got this channel called American Triple Ecstasy. It was my stepfather's.
Nice.
This is my stepfather's favorite channel. So
What are you doing in there, son? Going blind.
So when my friends would come over, we'd be, like, "Oh, what are you watching?" Nothing.
Me and this,
watching porn with my friends.
Well, you guys all worked at video stores, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday nights we used to have to take out the tapes and put them all in to keep them rolling to see if just in case there was no bad VHS tapes or anything like that. So the main ones that people that would return because it wasn't working right were the porns. So me and my friend Rose, we worked every Monday night together. So we would have 5 VCRs and 5 TVs in the back, and we'd get all kinds of weird shit in, from midget porn to nude yoga like the S&M videos. We'd get that and we just put it on. So we're pulling out like clamshells of like, you know, Sam the sheep or something. We're watching like, you know, you know, we're pulling out like clamshells of that and like we're like looking for them. We're just checking and we're like, yep.
Your store had a bigger variety of porn than the one that I worked at.
Oh yeah, it was movies. It was Movies Unlimited.
I worked at a Hollywood Video. We didn't have porn, so.
Well, see, what was funny? The Movies Unlimited was right across the street from a Blockbuster. We had one guy who came in every Monday, and he would drop his kids off at the Blockbuster and come over here to rent porn. He even told me that. He goes, oh, what new movies do you have in? And I'm thinking, oh, well, Jerry Maguire, Assassins. He goes, no, I can get that shit across the street. What new movies did you get in? And Rose is like, Kenny, I think he means the porn section. And I'm like, I don't know. I just put them out.
Happy Scrappy Hero Pup.
Yeah. And at that time, the big one was Jenna Jameson. Her movies. So we had like every one of hers and Lisa Ann. Is she still popular today? Lisa Ann.
I don't know.
She was a pretty brunette with big yabos.
You're the yam guy.
That narrows it down. Victor says you guys probably watched a heck of a lot of HBO, especially that Real Sex series.
Real Sex. No. That was good. The Real Sex.
Yeah, man. I used to watch that shit.
That was the first time I ever seen that they had it like on the internet. Remember they did a Real Sex expose about like cyber porn or something like that, where you could get it on. I don't remember
that, but I do remember that show.
Men Alone 2, the KY Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we had just gotten Prodigy, and my buddy had just watched that Real Sex, and my buddy's going, Chris, see if you can, my brother, he goes, see if you can get these on here. And Chris is like, what is it? He goes, porn. you know? And he goes, well, don't you rent that shit? He goes, oh, but you can get it on the computer. I remember one time we had downloaded, remember that Jennifer Aniston when she was on the Friends show, where she was like laying there and you could see her bare butt? It was like from 96 or something like that.
Vaguely,
I think that took, you remember that one? No. I think that took about 3 hours to download it for my brother to put a screenshot on our computer for that.
2 girls in a cup.
What's that?
That'll be our show next week.
Wow.
Kenny watches 2 girls, 1 cup.
How Sean immediately starts laughing and Kenny's immediately like, what?
Yes, join us next week when Kenny watches two girls, 1 cup.
Yeah, that'll be your blind watch for next week.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks, Victor. Yeah, I never heard of that before.
You don't want to know, man.
That will be the end of the show on YouTube.
I was thinking that that's the CBS show with the 2 waitresses, right?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, okay. I did watch that show a couple times with Kat Dennings. And,
that's 2 broke girls, by the way.
2 broke girls.
That's not 2 girls.
Oh, okay.
It's not 2 girls.
Okay. Well, I know Stifler's mom was in that, right? She was the hey girls, come in and say that all the time. Yeah, 2 broke girls.
Sorry, Kenny.
Oh man.
Yeah, please do not Google that later.
Yeah, believe me. After getting your reactions, I will not be doing that.
Please do not. And if you do, we warned you.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Nor is it 2 guys.
Right.
I like that movie. I like that show too. That was the first time I ever seen Ryan Reynolds. He was in that.
Oh my God, I'm gonna die.
My work is done.
guy from Castle's in Two Guys and a Girl, and Natalie from.
I don't think the cast of Two Girls, One Cup went anywhere after.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want him to be anywhere near me, man.
Maybe to jail. I don't know. Or to the doctor. I don't know. All right, it's time for movie recommendations.
Oh well, I think mine will just like really like. This is going to go wide left to the goalpost. I'm telling you.
Okay, Kenny, what do you got?
All right. This is an Oscar-winning movie from 1977. It's called The Goodbye Girl with Richard Dreyfuss and Marsha Mason.
Yep.
I love this movie. This is one of the ones I rewatched last night because it was on the Tubi, and it's a great movie. And Quinn Cummings is the daughter in that. It's just really good. So that's my recommendation. My next week, the 2 weeks, I'll have another recommendation for you. Was another good one that I watched this week too. So.
Okay.
Gonna keep us waiting for 2 weeks.
What's up, Sean?
Here's a spoiler. So will Jim.
Yeah, spoiler. 2 weeks.
Jim and I will also have movies to recommend that we watched that were good.
But our recommendations will suck, So
yeah,
yeah. Victor, that is a Neil Simon one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I saw that one theatrically when I was like 10.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it really is.
I actually think I saw it twice in the theater. Really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you decent? Yep. Sure. Come on in. I thought you said you were decent. I am decent. I also happen to be naked. I remember that.
Yeah, it's a great
song by David Gates too, from Bread.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that.
Oscar-nominated song.
It's a great one. And by the way, I do need to remind everybody that on the Talking Movies 2024 channel on YouTube, I always put the trailer for all of our recommended movies in a playlist. Kenny has a playlist. I have a playlist. Jim has a playlist. And I am going to go back and pick out all of the guest recommendations too. So even when our guests have recommendations, I'm going to make a guest recommendation list so they won't get forgotten either. But I haven't done that yet. But all three of us have a playlist of all of our recommendations. So if you want to see all of the recommendations going back to the beginning of the show, back in July of last year, you can do that. And then back when Jim joined the show when did you join? August?
Was it June, August? I think. June or July, I think.
Well, then you joined before the show started.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like episode 4.
I think it was August.
Yeah.
Episode 4, episode 5, somewhere around there.
Yeah. All righty.
Time flies when you're getting old. I don't know. It's all a blur, boys.
All right, Jim, what do you got?
Okay, well, trying to keep up somewhat with the theme that we had this week. And by that theme, I meant 2 Asian films. I started off the show saying how much I enjoyed Godzilla growing up, and then I kind of gave up on Japanese films for whatever reason until around 2002, 2003, and I read this great article where they were interviewing Quentin Tarantino, and he was talking about his absolute favorite movie of all time, and it's called Battle Royale. This is from 2000. This is what the Hunger Games wants to be.
Yeah.
Because the plot of this movie is a class of 8th graders, and these kids look young in this movie, but a class of 8th graders on a field trip get gassed, wake up with collars around their necks, and they have 3 days to kill every one of their classmates. Only one person is allowed to leave. If they refuse to fight, their heads blow up. If they try to escape, their heads blow up. If the time runs out and there's more than one person, everybody's head blows up. And this movie is batshit crazy. I love it. I got it on a bootleg when I first read that article, and I watched it at least a dozen times in that first 3 days alone. Had people coming over for parties and saying, you got to watch this crazy fucking movie. And everybody I have ever met who has seen Battle Royale loves it. This particular case or edition does also include the sequel, Battle Royale 2 Requiem. That movie kind of sucks. It's got some great set pieces in it, but it's not like Peninsula. It's derivative of the original. But if you get a chance to watch the original Battle Royale, especially uncut, by all means, please do so. So that is my recommendation this week, Battle Royale.
I can also vouch for that one. That was when you mentioned the Hunger Games, I watched it after the Hunger Games, and I immediately saw how much the Hunger Games stole from Battle Royale. It's really kind of ridiculous. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Battle Royale is far superior to the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And Victor just said in the comments that it is on Tubi too.
There you go.
So if you guys don't own it like me, we'll be watching it on Tubi.
Have you ever seen it, Kenny?
No, that's why.
You'll love it.
Yeah,
you will love it. It is so good. The second one, like I said, it's not bad. The one thing about the second one that I do like, it's the same premise. Okay, it's a class full of kids, but they have to play as teams. So, like for instance, it's a boy and a girl, so their necklaces are hooked up to each other, and if they get a certain distance apart, they both explode. If one gets killed, the other one explodes. So it adds like a little dimension to the game, which is kind of cool. But that original Battle Royale, man, I'm telling you, it is just so visceral. It is so well done. It inspired everything from, the Hunger Games, obviously. I would even go so far as to say it inspired Squid Game and some of these other things with similar plots. But that one is just, there's something about Kill Bill. Okay, you've seen Kill Bill, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Kenny?
Yeah.
Go. The girl.
Oh, okay.
She's in Battle Royale.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That is how Quentin Tarantino found her. He saw that, loved her so much, and cast her as Go-Go. Yep. And the character that she plays in Battle Royale is 180 degrees different than Go-Go. But it's awesome. She has one of the best kills in the whole damn movie. It is so good. You'll like it.
Yep.
I will definitely check that out.
This is a rare case where I've seen both of your recommendations, and I can vouch for both of them.
Hey. Yes, we have such good taste.
Yes, you do.
All right, don't fuck it up.
All right, well, I'll try. My recommendation, I actually mentioned this in a video that I did earlier last week, is Companion.
Nice.
It's available on Max. I'm not going to give too much of away about it. It is about a robot companion that is available for purchase. So this character played by Jack Quaid has one, and it's played by Sophie Thatcher. And basically what happens is the robot doesn't know she's a robot. And when she finds out she's a robot, things start to happen. But it's amazingly well done. When I went into it, I thought it was going to be something like Subservience that was on Netflix last year with Megan Fox.
Yeah. And
that was terrible.
Yes.
I also thought this might be sort of running along the same lines as Megan, maybe. Nothing like it. This is, it says on the back, it's a clever and darkly satirical thriller. It is more of a thriller than it is a horror movie. It is very fun. So I have to say, it came out of left field. I got it on a whim. I'm very glad I saw it. Check it out. Victor says it's my best film of the year so far. Sophie Thatcher is a fucking star. This and Heretic prove she is our next great actress. She is fantastic in Heretic. I will second that as well. If you haven't seen Heretic, it is not as good as Companion. I had some problems with the third act of that movie, but Hugh Grant is fantastic in it. But Companion is a much better movie. Jack Quaid is good in it, but Sophie Thatcher is amazing in it. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, I want to see that. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
I'll have to watch it on Max.
Yeah, it's damn well worth it. And it's funny.
You had picked it up. Is it?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny as hell. And it's got some gore in it, but it's really funny, and it's really kind of I don't want to say it's a mind fuck movie, but it's got plot twists that you don't see coming. and it's
Nice.
smart. That's the word I'm looking for, which is a really hard word to remember. Smart. It is very smart. It's a very good film.
Cool. You didn't fuck up. Good for you.
Thank you. Victor says, "Oh, it's absolutely hilarious, especially supporting cast." Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So, probably my favorite movie. Well, the year is very young, and I haven't seen that many movies made in 2025. But Companion is my favorite movie so far this year. So,
The Monkey's mine so far.
oh, I haven't seen that yet. I know you liked that. You said you liked it. But I haven't seen it yet.
I did. But again, I could see why people wouldn't. You know, that's going to be one of those movies that is you either get it or you don't. You know,
Okay.
So
I like those kind of movies.
yeah, I just thought I love the audacity of it. It is so over the top, ridiculous. That's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, that probably means I'll like it. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think you will. Actually, I think
Okay.
Kenny will like it too.
Probably.
Cool.
Yeah, I really haven't seen any like new stuff this year.
I know we
Yeah,
don't.
I've only seen that, and I think the Captain America movie, and I watched both of those on Look. You know, I haven't gone to the theater once yet this year, unfortunately.
I did.
But there
once.
is some stuff. There is some stuff coming out this summer though that I really want to see. Are either of you familiar with Stephen King's story, The Long Walk?
Mm-mm.
That's coming out now. They're saying September 12th, I think. And that is another one of if they do it right, if they make that movie correctly, it'll be one of the best Stephen King movies ever.
Oh, really?
But if they fuck it up, it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And I've got such high hopes for that movie because it's probably, with the exception of The Stand, my favorite Stephen King book that he ever wrote. And it's the first thing he ever wrote. He was 19 when he wrote it.
Oh, wow.
And it sat in a drawer for years, and then they released it with the Bachman books, which The Running Man is one of those books.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say about The Running Man.
But the gist of The Long Walk, you know, I know we're coming up on it, but the gist of it, okay, is set in the near future, and they take 50 18-year-old kids between 18 and 21 men, okay, and they start walking. And if they get below 3 miles an hour average walk, they get a warning. They get 3 warnings, they get shot in the head. If you stop walking for more than 5 minutes, you get shot in the head.
Good golly.
And you just keep walking and walking and walking until there's only one person left. And the person at the end gets a shitload of money, but they also get anything they want. They get whatever wish they want. And like the best Stephen King books, it's all character based.
Yeah.
So you're following this core group of these kids, you know, finding out what their motivations are and this and that. And then as they start dropping, you know, you start getting into it more. And by the end of that book, you are like, oh my God, what the hell's going to happen next? And the only reason why it's taken so long to be made is because who wants to see a movie where every character gets shot in the head?
Right.
You know, especially at that point, they were talking like they were going to be like 18-year-olds, and they were thinking that people would be, you know, oh, they're killing kids in schools or something. You know, what the fuck does that got to do with anything? But yeah, it's one of the darkest things that Stephen King ever wrote, but it's one of the best things he ever wrote. And I've been waiting years for this movie, and I really hope that it turns out. I really do. Yeah, Francis Lawrence.
Yeah. Francis Lawrence is doing The Long Walk. I like most of his work, especially Constantine.
Yeah, Seymour Hoffman's kid, Cooper Hoffman. He's the star of it. He was in Licorice Pizza.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's the star of it.
Okay. Yeah. He was okay in that. He's one of the few things I liked about that movie.
Yeah, Mark Hamill plays the bad guy.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, the major.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, I'll shut up now about The Long Walk. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Thanks for putting that on my radar. I'll keep an eye out for that. Texas mentioned The Sinners and said it was really good. I want to see that. I've heard nothing but good things about that.
Yeah.
I have heard some people not liking it, but
Stuart
overall
didn't really care for it, but everybody else I know that saw it loved it. So
yeah.
I heard Michael Jordan could be up for an Oscar for that role.
He plays twins in it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke and
I-
Stack.
Oh, yeah,
Seriously,
that's right.
2 characters.
Yeah,
Smoke
that's right.
and
I heard
Stack.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, we've hit 9:00. It is that time where we have to draw the show to a close. But thank you guys for sticking with us tonight. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, me.
He's talking about himself in the third person again.
Third, it's like Garth Brooks all of a sudden. Garth Brooks really appreciated that. When Garth Brooks started out, Garth Brooks was...
I'm Bob Dole. Bob Dole's an honest man.
Yeah.
I'm entering my dementia phase of my career.
Bob Dole endorses 2 women in a cup.
I'm seriously considering doing that for the next show. Just to lighten the load on my life. We don't have to do the show anymore. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to throw this in there. Michael Jordan should have been nominated for Space Jam.
Jesus.
Oh, wait. Wrong Jordan. We're talking about Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
He was damn good with Bugs Bunny.
Yes, he was. So was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank
you, Sean. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, everybody in the chat tonight, especially Mr. Dan, Victor, and Texas. I think that was it in the chat tonight. You guys made it a great show, and thanks for watching.
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Everybody listening on the replay, thank you for listening. And we will catch you in 2 weeks, which will be the 20th of May. We'll be back. We don't have a topic yet, but we will by then, hopefully. So we'll see you then. Have a good night.
Have a great night,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.